Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show, the show where I bring you champion, greatness engineer, like I call them, and people who are going to come and inspire you and help you to get tips, to get, anything that can help you to go to the next level of your greatness. So don't hesitate to, come in, have questions, and, give us your insight on the subject of today. Today we're going to talk about how to empower our mind for greatness. And we have, like I said, a greatness engineer all the way from the US. And I'm pretty sure you're going to learn a lot from her. She's been helping people writing books, and so she's a coach. And she's inspiring so many people, not only in the US but around the world. So I'm not gonna, introduce her here. She's gonna have the opportunity to introduce herself, but just want to introduce myself. My name is Mireille Tilekima, and I'm the host of the Greatness Engineering Hour show. And the Greatness Engineering Hour show is brought to you by the Mireille Tilekima Global Leadership Organization. And we make sure that people understand that they have greatness inside of them, and help them to unleash this greatness and get the inspiration that is necessary for them to step into, the greatness that they have, step into their power, and make sure they implement it, because the implementation is really key. So that's really what I'm asking you. Yes, listen, yes, participate, but the most important thing, implement it, in your life, so that you can engineer greatness wherever you are and wherever it matters in your community, or wherever you think it's necessary. So let's start the show, and let us know where you're watching from, if you're watching live. Otherwise, for those who are going to watch the replay, please, put any comment. Let us know as well where you're watching from, and we will catch up with you at a certain point to connect and make sure you've enjoyed the show, and you get all the information that you're looking for. So let's start and have a great conversation on how to empower our mind for greatness. And today, my guest is Allison Daniels. Yes, Allison Daniels will be with me for an hour of greatness. So sit tight, and let's start to have this great conversation about greatness. Another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show, the show that is brought to you by the Mireille Tilekima Global Leadership Organization.
Feel is important is if you just look at the word compassion, when it's behavior, it's something that can be learned, and it is something that we can embody through habits and through our daily actions.
Like, what can I do now with this all experiences that that I have? And for me, it's knowing who I am, believing in myself, and trust, and have confidence that yes, this has happened.
To get this idea that if we interject this wisdom intentionally, I call them needle movers. It's the needle mover that's missing.
I was getting my first computer when I went into undergrad, right? And so I think that stick with what you're passionate about. And if you're passionate about learning technology, you're in a great space because technology touches every industry.
So welcome, Allison, to the Greatness Engineering Hour show. I'm just so excited to have you today and talking about, a subject that is really close to my heart, greatness, how to empower your mind for greatness. But before we get to the excitement, I just want you to introduce yourself, let us know who you are and, what you're up to. And then we'll take it from there.
Okay. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I count it an honor and a blessing. I'm so glad to be here. So I'm an international best-selling author and award-winning publisher. Again, my name is Allison Daniels. I serve as a professional speaker and expert to magnify and monetize the stories and the quality books. I have over 15 years of experience in the book business, so I've been writing for a long time. I help aspiring authors navigate through the self-publishing arena to turn writers into successful authors one book at a time. I am also a wife of over 20 years, a mom of 2 beautiful daughters, and a caregiver for my parents. So I wear a lot of hats, but I'm blessed to be able to do the things that I do.
Thank you so much. And, we all wear so many hats, and that's where, the greatness question is coming in. So how do we, keep our head high, and how do we make sure that, not only keeping the head high, how do we make sure we actually continue to grow and step, into something higher than ourselves and the environment where we are. So my first question to you is, because we're talking about greatness here, and you interact with so many people through your books and really is trying to bring this greatness out of them. So what do you look, when you have, you start a book and you're looking for author, what do you look, for, and how is the process?
So one of the things, a few questions that I ask the author is, why do you want to write the book? Mm-hmm. Are you actually passionate about the story that you want to write? And what is it that you want the reader to gain from reading your book? So there are a few questions that, you really need to know why you're writing a book, because so many people are writing books, but you want to be able to write a quality book that has substance to it, that people will be able to take away something that you have said within that book that will make a difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's the important thing, and I think I got what you said is that so many people want to write books, but they don't always focus on the quality. Yes. and really serving serving people. It's more about okay, I want to write a book, I want to be branded, and sometimes they completely lose focus on what is necessary to be part of a big, a good book, and that's sometimes the problem. So how do you get when you've done this selection, you have people. So how do you get to empower, how do they empower themselves, and how do you get the greatness out of them, so that they can is there a particular process that you follow, or is it something that you look at? Is it different for every author, or is it something that is standard? How do you do that?
It is different for each author, because I actually take the time to talk to them to, get their feedback on why they want to write a book. But
Mm-hmm.
after I get all of that, I lay out like an outline, and we
Mm-hmm.
go through different goals to try and
Mm-hmm.
figure out, number one, what is it that you want to talk about in the book? Number two, um, being able to convey what you're trying to say to your readers so they don't get lost in
Mm-hmm.
there. So I teach a 30-day write to finish book writing class. And so we do the outline, we do the first chapter, trying to get you to give me some feedback
Mm-hmm.
on your decision making. Then we
Mm-hmm.
actually go through a few questions that I'll ask. And then trying to see, I always say it starts within the mind, because I want to see how passionate you are about writing. Because if you're
Mm-hmm.
not passionate about what you're getting ready to write about, it's going to come through in your writing. So I want
Mm-hmm.
to be able to empower you or encourage you to put some emotions in it, some feelings in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, as you continue to write, that reader will be able to tell that you were, again, passionate about what you wanted to write and why you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to write it. So there are like
Mm-hmm.
little steps that we kind of go through before you even get started with writing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's and sometimes I think and I was also guilty of that. I thought that writing was more an emotional process, and there are steps, that you still have, obviously you start with, the emotion, but there are steps that you need to follow to be able to get, to write the message the right way, and get the connection that you want to have with the potential readers. So
Yes.
what are those steps? I mean, I know you've alluded to it just now, but what are the steps? Are they specific steps that you can, mention to us, or recommend to us, just, just now, or is it something that needs to be, worked out with every single co-author that you work with?
So I would say that there are steps to it, but each
Mm-hmm.
person again is different. But
Mm-hmm.
write down, like, I start with 10 chapters or 10 titles of a chapter. I start
Mm-hmm.
with the title. Then under the title, I put down my 10 chapters, things that I want to talk about in the book, or things that the author want to talk about in the book. Then we go through each chapter, and then we give it a subtitle, and then you
Mm-hmm.
move from there. So it's kind of really strategic in how, I try to begin to help authors write their book. So we're not
Mm-hmm.
just putting things out there, but you kind of have some form of an order. So you're going to
Mm-hmm.
write your title. You're going to, think about your title first, write your title, write your subtitle, then write down. I usually go 10 to 15 chapters, and then,
Mm-hmm.
get that title. Tell me why you chose that chapter title. And then let's
Mm-hmm.
write down 3 to 4 things that you want to talk about up under that chapter. And then we'll
Mm-hmm.
go from there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it's quite a heavy, heavy process when you look at it, and people like you are very important, because otherwise you can go all over the place, basically.
Mhm.
You have all those ideas, and then you don't really know how to put them together. And so what is the difference between, somebody like you and somebody and what they call the ghostwriters? Because I can imagine that you have sometimes people who want to be in a book. They have a story, they probably have a title, but they don't know how to write. So
Mhm.
how do you deal with that?
You know, with a ghostwriter, and I've done other books, but as a ghostwriter, your name is nowhere on the book and you're not even talking about the book anymore. But as a ghostwriter, what I do is, first of all, is I do a recording, and I have you just kind of talk. And as you're talking, I'm recording and I'm writing down everything. Then I'm putting your outline together. I'm putting your book together, and we're actually taking it from print to publishing. So it's not as difficult for me, because once I, listen and really key in on what you're saying, I could possibly write your book within 30 days or less. It's just getting enough information out of you in order for me to understand where you're coming from. And that's with me asking some basic questions and, meeting with you, because ghostwriting is not something that you can just, really do overnight. But once I get enough questions answered from you, it's very easy for me to, write your book. And I say that because I've been writing now, since 1994, and I have 31 books out, co-author of 14. So I kind of have it down. So, yes.
I can imagine. I mean, it's a lot of experience, and after a while, it becomes second nature. So when you look at being in a co-authoring book, co-author book, and writing solo, how do you enjoy it first? Is there a particular preference that you have, and what are the key challenges, especially when I look at a book with different author? How do you coordinate all of this? Because it can be a nightmare.
Well, it can be, but it's all in how, to me, it's all in how organized you are. And this will be my third anthology coming up. So I've met so many different people, but I've learned how to keep things, in order. I'm really laser focused on how I do things. And a benefit of being a co-author is that you get to meet so many different authors that are doing so many different things that, after the book is published, you may have a co-author that has a radio show. You may have a co-author that's on a magazine. You may have a co-author that's getting ready to do, let's say, a conference, and they need someone to be in their conference. Well, by you meeting each other, and the way that I do things, I try to have it where every co-author meet each other, whether it's on Zoom, whether we go out and meet somewhere, being very safe during this season, but going out and meeting and collaborating. So I also teach a master class on just chapter writing. And the reason why I do that is because a lot of times people don't always have a book ready. They don't always have 15 and 20 chapters, but they do have a story that they want to tell. So what I help them do in that master class is, if you tell me the name of the book, and if you tell me the visionary author's vision for the book, we'll focus in right on that, and I'll help you with writing your chapter. So the benefits of being a co-author, to me, is excellent. It's all in what you put in it, though, because I've been in several anthologies where it just sat to the side. It's not until maybe these last 5 books that I realized there's so much more that you can do being a co-author until you become your own author.
Wow, that's fantastic. And that's really what I want to delve in, when after we have this break. So we're going to have a break, and then we'll come back and continue this conversation and really understand, because you started to talk about it, really understand what's behind, because sometimes it's not just about the book. So what's beyond, and really tied it to, the subject of greatness. But let's have, a break. And for those who are watching today, my guest is Allison Daniels, and we're talking about, how to empower ourselves to greatness. And we've started to talk about it, but we're really gonna go deep into it after this break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in few minutes. So we are back. We are back with Allison, and we are talking about how to empower your mind for greatness. Allison has been helping, author and for quite a long time. And in a way, it's not just helping them to become authors; it's empowering them, to get to their greatness and get them to use this power and to step into their greatness. So my question to you, Allison, is, what do you recommend, to empower those people to greatness? So what is the process that you make, how do you make sure that behind the book, there's something more that's coming out of the offer that you're working with?
So a few things would be, first of all, you've invested in your book. So don't allow your book to sit to the side and not do anything with your book. There are so many things that you can do with your book. One of the co-author books that I'm in, we actually have a documentary that's with it. And I'm excited about that. That's getting ready to come out soon, called Image in the Mirror. Another thing you can do after your book is published is you can start, collaborating with your co-authors, and then the two of you or the three of you do a Facebook Live, do something on YouTube. Again, don't allow your book to just sit, because your greatness went out in that book. You can also, create your own show, create your own podcast. I have co-authors after they take my class, or authors after they take my class, they have started their own radio show. They've started their own podcast. Take your chapter and create like a mini workbook. People don't think about certain things that they can do with a chapter. You can, get a banner with just your chapter and the front of that book, a picture of you, the front of that book, and then put out your 3 key points. There's so much more that you can do after the book is published. Start getting on the radio shows, start getting on television, whatever your title is. Your title could be what our title of the show is, to empower your mind for greatness. Then write down 3 things. Start inquiring. Another thing that I recommend is get your press kit done, your press release, because, I find myself updating it a lot, not as often, but I update a lot. Get a website. If you don't have enough to put into a website, then just do a landing page. But don't allow your book to just sit, because there's so many things that we can do now online, offline, that could take your chapter or your book to the next level. One of the ways to empower your mind is get around other people that are doing the things that you want to do. We have to start, if you want to be great, you have to start practicing on how to be great. And you have to get around people that are doing things that are outside of the box. Don't just box yourself in. I wrote a book, now that's that. No, your book should become your business. Your book is your brand. So that's why I tell people, don't just write a book. Your book is your brand. It represents you. So anything that I publish, it not only represents the author, it also represents my company. So we have to be, I have to be strategic in who I'm allowing to come through the publishing company. And I have to also, kind of sort of teach the authors, that there's a certain way that you want to carry yourself so that you can be on your show, the Greatness Engineering Hour. But it's all in how you present yourself. But once your book is published, there's so much more that you can do. You just have to be creative and don't allow your book to just sit there.
And that's an important message. And I don't know who's watching, but please, take this advice. The book is not just to sit somewhere, because I've seen people coming and complaining, yeah, I wrote a book and but it's not selling, it's not doing this. And it's not, when you write a book, some people can when they're already famous, but it's not, you don't become rich, and monetize it straight away. Like you said, you have to be creative in creating, new businesses around the book, and really pushing your brand using the book. It's not gonna just happen just like that, and then you put the book aside because you're an author, everything is gonna happen. No, it's just the starting point in a way, and that's the message today for anybody who wants to get involved. So what are the things that sometimes people are not prepared, what are the routine in a way that you advise, because those are the opportunity that you've just mentioned, but what is the process for somebody who's not really ready, doesn't really understand what the book is all about? How do they become very familiar and very, how do they are at ease with going out there and using their book and start to, in a way, market themselves? So what do you do? Is there something that are that they need to do, or do they have to go through a training? Like you said, you're doing training. What are the key things that you do for that? Because I know that a lot of people are scared to market, especially women, to go out there and then talk about their book and talk about the great thing that they want to do. Yes. So how do you build up this, this power, and make sure that they don't continue to feel like they are imposter in their own greatness?
Yes. So the last part of the class, which is module number 7, where I help you with marketing. And so I kind of give you information on the people that I have already been before, that I have already connected with, and believe that they will help you bring your story out the best way that they know how. And in doing that, there are things that you also have to have in place. And as you're taking my class and as you're getting ready to publish your book, there are like certain blurbs that, I'll give to you. So you're not kind of feeling like, oh my God, I've never been on a show, so I don't know the questions that they're going to ask. So I kind of prepare you for certain questions that you need to be prepared to answer about you, about your book. Then also, having questions ready that if they ask you something on a show or they ask you something on the radio, you're actually so empowered that, you feel comfortable, that you know enough about your book. You definitely know enough about yourself, and you know enough about your story to be able to share it. Someone told me you should be able to say what you do in a sentence in less than 60 seconds. That's the same thing with your book. You should be able to summarize your book or your story up very quickly. It shouldn't take a long time for you to be able to say what you're going to offer in that book. What is your solution to the reason why you wrote that book that will be able to help someone else? And so once I prepare you for the marketing, I also look at your marketing material, because a lot of times, we have a lot of things, but they don't all, what do I want to say? It doesn't all look alike. It's not, you're not branded. So you have different pieces, which really looks good, but I can't tell if that's someone else's, and I can't tell what your colors are, and I can't tell what your brand name is, because there are so many different pieces. So I take that time to try and go through and see what it is that you have before you just step out there, because I don't want to ever have someone step out and then they're asked a question and they don't have the answer to it. So I really try to make sure that you're prepared as you get ready to go out. Actually, I just give you all that I have and what I've done, when I'm doing my interviews.
And it's important because, when you write the book, you're so excited, but after this excitement, you don't actually realize that there's a lot of work.
Yes.
So so you need the guidance, you need the right people around. So how do you keep those offers excited and motivated? Because so obviously you give them the help, but they have to stay positive and keep going, because the monetization can take some time. So how do you keep them motivated?
Well, what I try to tell them to do is practice positive behavior. Practice your book. Again, your book is your brand. So practice positive behavior, so that way when things don't go the way that you had planned, you're still not just allowing your book to just sit there. Motivating you is being able to make sure that you're not giving up on that journey. You're not giving up on your book. You're not giving up on seeing your book come to life. And a lot of times, I'm always asked, you're a publisher, so you should be able to get my book out and do all of this but there's a big difference between a publisher and a marketing agent. The marketing agent is the one that actually gets your book out and market and to get it in front of people. And the PR person, the publisher, the main thing that we do is publish your book and get it into print. Now, there are publishers that will offer certain marketing pieces. Like I offer to keep you motivated, I'll offer the book banner. I'll offer the book badge to let people know that you're out there, you're a new author. Then I'll offer you being on the radio show, which also has like a banner to it. So you'll have like marketing material that you can keep pushing out there. And the way that you keep yourself motivated is take that banner or take a picture of your book and put maybe a quote from your chapter or a quote from that book, and constantly put something out every day. If anyone knows me, they kind of know that I'm always putting something out. So after a while, you probably just get tired of seeing me. But I'm empowered to continue to move on and to make something great out of myself, and in turn to help authors do the same. So staying motivated is practicing positive habits every day and putting something out about your book every day to let people know that you're out there. After you write the book and it's published, people don't know that you're out there if you don't put anything out. If you don't say anything about your book and you just publish your book, well, it'll just be a published book sitting on a shelf. But you have to constantly talk about it. If you're passionate about it, if you know that that's what you were called to write, then listen, start marketing, start putting things out about it.
And that's an important message, and I like it. So practice positive habit, because like I said, the monetization can take some time. You can even get drained before the breakthrough comes, but you have to stay still coming back until this breakthrough happen. And the great way to do that is to stay positive, because otherwise you're gonna give up. You have to believe, in yourself, and believe that this book is gonna break through. And that's where the purpose of the book, the purpose of you writing, has to be really strong. Because if it's just something that you do to copy somebody, or then it becomes difficult to really get to monetize the book, and really enjoy the process, because that's what it's all about, really enjoying the process, and make sure you bring a solution. And sometimes that the aspect that we forget is that what solution are you bringing. And again, I think I see it more like an entrepreneur. When you're an author, you're like an entrepreneur, because you need a niche. You need to be focused, and your message has to be really directed to this niche. What do you think?
Yes. And I think that's where authors kind of drop the ball, because they forget at that point you become an entrepreneur, and you're actually focusing in on marketing your book, taking your book to the next level, doing everything that you need to do. Once you put your money into your book, your goal should be, now, how do I monetize it? How do I get this book out to other people? How do I make a difference where I can get into, different conferences? Just because you have a book doesn't mean that, you just have to go to certain places. It all depends on where do you want to market your book? Who are the people that you want to reach? Targeting your audience. And in my writing class, I try to tell authors, don't try to write a book for everyone. Just write a book. Get laser focused and write a book on, let's say, a certain group. If it's that you want to try and reach teenagers, 15 to 18, or young women, then laser focus in on that, and then get into groups or email out to different groups about your book, specifically about your book. So once you kind of get laser focused as an entrepreneur, because that's what you become once you write your book, you'll be able to get onto different platforms that specifically want you to talk about certain things pertaining to your book. And so I had to make sure that I stayed laser focused on the different avenues that I wanted to take in order to bring my book to life, my brand to life, and to see where it would lead me. But we have to get that entrepreneur mindset, in order for you to be able to get laser focused, because other than that, you could be all over the place and still not doing anything. So once you kind of own into what it is that you're wanting to get out of your book, you'll be able to get laser focused on what it is that you need to be doing and who you need to make contact with.
Fantastic. So, and so all the, potential offer who are struggling, you get the answer of why you are struggling just now. So be laser focused, and as soon as you've written this book, that's when the work start. And you really have to be strategic, have the right people around you, and again be laser focused, just like an entrepreneur. You become an entrepreneur without knowing it. So that's the beauty of it. So we're gonna have another break, and then we'll come back and continue for the last part of the show. But
Okay.
so far we've had some great insight from you, Allison, and I know the audience will enjoy it, and really get clarity on writing books and what it's all about, the challenges, the process, and also what's needed for them to be successful in monetizing those books. So don't go anywhere. We're going to have our second break, and we will be back with Allison to continue our conversation. So we're back with Allison, and we are talking about how to empower your mind for greatness. And Allison has a lot of experience on that. She served, professional speakers and experts, to magnify and monetize, their stories by publishing, quality books. And I want to ask you, Allison, because in a way, what you're doing is just helping people to understand the greatness that they get in touch with the greatness that they have inside of them, and really unleash this greatness in a way that is gonna really amplify the person that they are and what they represent, their values. So but for you, how does it brings your greatness out in a way? That's something that I want to understand, because I can imagine that you're doing it for them, but there's something as well that that click inside of you to get your greatness as well. So how do you do that?
I'm always excited again to help other people, but it's also a joy for me because I get to empower you to be able to write your story, share your story, and then publish your story. Tell it from your side, to be able to speak your truth. So it's empowering to me to know that I was able to help you, get past the fears, get past the procrastination, and get past, the opinions of others in order for you to be able to tell your side of the story. So it's an honor for me to be able to help other authors get their books out, but it's also me leaving a legacy for my daughters, because the more that I can help others, they'll be able to see the legacy that I am creating, and then they'll be able to either continue with it, or they'll create their own legacy. And so it's an honor for me. I get the honor by being able to help you tell your story. And I'm always excited because I'm a writer, and I'm a writer, speaker, publisher. So I actually love what I do, and I've been doing it for years. And outside of my 9 to 5, working in the government will be 37 years. After I leave my government job, 5 o'clock, I guess, I start on my publishing business. So I have that fire, that passion, that joy to be able to take it up another notch on what I believe that I'm called to do. So, we have a job, but we're also called to do something. And I am passionate about what I'm doing. So I pray that joy never leaves, because I want to see as many stories, as many books get written, as far as me publishing and helping others. So I get joy out of it.
Fantastic. And that's the most important thing, because if you don't get the joy, you can't give joy to those, those offer that you're helping, so, and it comes down to the positive habit that you had for yourself. You have to, to practice those positive habits first, and then, you can tell them to do the same, and they can emulate, because they see it as well, coming from you as, as their book coach. And that's fantastic. So just to to ask you the last question, because obviously we're getting really close to the end, and I don't even want to end this conversation, but that's okay. So I mean, what's next for you? Because yes, you're writing those books, you have your government job, but I assume that there's always something that you do to get to the next level. So what's next for you to get to this next level? Because for me, there's the greatness is unlimited. So I assume that you being in the business first, creating greatness in people's life, you also see no limitation. So what is next for you?
So what I have coming up next is my third anthology called Empowered to Win. And so in that anthology, I have over 17 ladies now. So I'm blessed about that. And that will be released in January 2022. And I also have a 30-day right to finish book writing program. That'll start on December the 6th. Also, I am in a documentary, The Image in the Mirror 2. And so I have that coming up. That's a book anthology. Then I have a conference coming up, Confident Women. So I have a conference coming up in December that I'm in. And then I have a lot of things coming up that, of course, you can't talk about until it's released. But I am constantly creating my greatness, doing something different, a lot of things behind the scenes, but I'm constantly moving and doing something to make a difference.
And that's the last thing that I like, to make a difference, because if you don't make a difference, it's difficult to keep going. So this difference that you make it's basically the boost that you need to keep going and to keep reinventing yourself and stepping into your greatness. That's fantastic. It has been an amazing conversation. And just like I said, I don't want to stop, but we have to, in the interest of time, we have to stop. So how do people, get in contact with you? How can they, have access to all those information that you were talking about? So the book, and then also, the training that you do, and the documentary and things like that. Is there, a focal area or platform that they can, access you, all those information?
So I try to just give one social media platform, which is my website, which is www.agdpublishing.com or www.allisongdaniels.com. And you can get the information on either one of those platforms, but I'm on all social media.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So make sure you check Allison website. So it's just on the screen here. There's two websites that you can access all the information and then have an idea of the amazing work that she's doing, empowering people to write their stories. And if you want to be part, I think she's always on the lookout for offers. If you really want to be part of this greatness, please, connect with her and make sure that you get to work with her, because I don't think you're gonna regret it. And so before we leave, any particular message that you want to leave the audience with, something, a particular message that you feel like, yes, they need to keep it and have it, and hear it in their life.
So I'll leave with the listening audience. You have a right to tell your own story. Your story matters. And the more you tell your story, the more there will be a release from you. So being able to focus in on what it is that you want to say within your story makes a difference. Your story matters no matter what someone else says. Write your story, share your story, and publish your story because it matters.
Fantastic. So your story matters. You heard it from Allison. So make sure you write your story, because that's what's going to be left behind, when you leave this world. So don't, don't even, leave it to chance. Just write your story. It's not only going to help you leave your legacy, but it's also gonna help somebody out there who need your guidance and your solution, and your story will be the solution to their problems, or inspire them to get and empower themselves for greatness. So it has been an amazing conversation, and I've learned a lot in the process as well, because I've actually I think I only had, a minimum involvement in one, co-authoring book. Most of my book have been solo. So now I'm gonna look out as well for your next books next year, because the next one that you have, it's a bit too stretched for me with everything that I have. But I think next year I'll be ready to take the journey with you. So thank you so much. On my side, there's going to be a lot as well still coming up. So tomorrow there's a conference that I'm going to be co-hosting as well. It's going to be mainly for, women in Africa, and it's going to be about growing, the market and financing in business. That's going to be very exciting as well. I will be co-moderator on the energy panel, which is, as you know, energy and oil and gas is my initial skills, even if I do a lot of empowerment work in different areas. That's where, I push, especially trying to empower women to get, involved in those new in those industry where they need to be, and pushing them. So that's going to be the big one tomorrow. And then obviously there are other activities, but we'll get the opportunity to talk about them. And we're going to have another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show next week as well. So stay tuned and look for any information about my activity, but most important for you, for the next episode of a Greatness Engineering Hour show. And I'm going to have another book, a book coach from Australia coming up next as well. So it's the month for book coach. And so you make sure that you write your book, because I'm bringing you the best to push you. Join them and make sure you write your story. So thank you very much for watching, and thank you so much, Allison, for for all the inspiration and the insight today. It's just amazing. Take care,
Thank you.
and God bless you,
God
and
bless
all
you.
the best with all the activity that are coming up. And watch out, I'm joining you next year. So take care,
Yes.
and
Thank you. Bye-bye.
and bye bye,
Bye-bye.
and
Thank
have a
you.
great weekend.
You
So
too.
not a problem. Bye.